Today we're making one of the best summer pasta dishes, pesto alla Trapanese. So guys, I always like to go over the ingredients before we get into it. Lots of fresh ingredients in this one. We went outside to get basil from our garden. I grow basil up in the front of my yard because I always need it during the summer, so I'm always grabbing some. This recipe has a good amount of basil. And this is a pesto from Sicily. It's similar to the one you're probably more familiar with, Genovese pesto, which is all green. This one brings red into it with the tomatoes. So the amount of basil we're going to need for this is 1 cup of packed basil leaves. So I think I'll have enough here. You can see how this is a lot of basil. A lot of this is stems, these big stems, because I just cut a ton in. Once your basil starts growing well outside, it grows like a jungle. You got to keep chopping it. As you chop the top of it, it's just going to grow outward. In addition to this basil here, also have a little bit of mint and a little bit of parsley. So I think that's nice. Some recipes will just use straight basil. There's a lot of mint though used in Sicilian dishes. And since we are doing a Sicilian dish, we're making a Sicilian pesto, we're gonna use Sicilian extra virgin olive oil. So I have partana right here. We're gonna do 1 clove of garlic in here. So if you like more garlic, I do recommend you use more, but raw garlic in a pesto like this gets super strong. So I like to take it easy with it. I'm gonna do a 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. I have 1 1/4 pound of plum tomatoes, which amounted to 5 of them. I've seen some recipes online where they use very small tomatoes, like a cherry tomato. Some recipes will say to blanch them. We're gonna blanch them. It's an extra step that you really don't have to do. You could just go straight with the tomatoes, and especially if you're using cherry tomatoes, you could just throw them all in the food processor. Traditionally, classically, this is probably done in a mortar and pestle, but I don't think too many people are using that, even in Italy right now. We have 1 cup of pecorino romano grated, so that comes out to roughly 80 grams. We have blanched almonds, well, peeled almonds, that these were like slivers. The traditional pasta for this is tara, I'm forgetting it, it's slipping my mind, is
busiate.
And I never heard of that pasta before, never heard of it. But we're gonna use gemelli, the Cecco gemelli, which is quite similar looking. Another one is casarecce, which looks similar too. And honestly, you can use any pasta you want, a short tubula, but I've seen this recipe done a lot of times with linguine, spaghetti. All right, I got 1 clove of garlic. Just, that's it. If you want more, use more. I'm gonna chop these right off the end here. Just chop the top off. You could take a little bit more if you want, but you don't have to. And then on the bottom here, just do an X, okay? Maybe do a little bit less than I did there. See, like you chop the end off, then now you're flat, and now you can do this without hurting yourself.
Good tip.
Yeah, I'm full of good tips. This is what you're here for, guys, right? We're gonna blanch them. So heat up a pot of water. Just put these in for only about 15 seconds. I'm boiling water. If you don't have blanched almonds already, peeled almonds, all you have to do here is you can do your almonds and your tomatoes. Do your almonds first, shock them after you put them in the water, the skin will pop off. But we already have the almonds, so we're just gonna do the tomatoes. So I'm just gonna pop them in the water and then just let them go for like 30 seconds, 15, 30 seconds. That's all you need, as long as your water's boiling. You can start to see it'll like, see how it'll start to curl up there like that? And then just put it in ice water. So you're just shocking it right in the ice water, okay? Just like that. And now your tomatoes are nice and cold and you're able to hold them and then you can peel them. Now, I probably should have let them go a little bit longer, but it'll be all right. So I think I said it in the beginning, you can do this whole dish without even going through this step. You can just use cherry tomatoes. And these tomatoes are not from my garden, they are from the store. They're never, ever as good as when you grow them yourself. That's just the truth, guys, you know? I know not all of you can grow stuff, but if you do have the ability to do it, I recommend you give it a shot. I'm taking the seeds out. We're left with this not so good looking pulpy tomato, but it's gonna have to suffice. I'm gonna put it in there and then just rinse and repeat for the other ones. If you grow them yourself, you can pick them at peak ripeness. So like this tomato looks a little better than the previous one. We want to remove stems definitely from this basil here. We do not want these big stems. So we just want the tender leaves here. We're going to remove them all and we're going to get rid of any bugs, which I just found one there. When you grow your own stuff, you will have stuff like that. You won't have that if you go to the store where they are even dousing your organic produce with 1 billion tons of BT, you know, and neem oil and everything else, which is organic stuff. But I don't really mind. I always tend to like rinse everything outside to get most of the stuff off. And you know, if a little straggler gets through, you get rid of them. You know, you got to look at your garden every day. A garden isn't something that you say you have. It's something you do. You're there all the time. You got to constantly be tying stuff up. You got to be trimming stuff, vegetation, overgrowth. Got to be looking for the bugs. Look at how beautiful this basil is, right?
I can smell it from
just like
over here.
Ah,
it smells so good.
It's growing like crazy now. Okay, and just remember, just take the stem off of your mint too. And I only have a little bit of mint here. And a little bit of parsley. That's so good. Now, I said in the recipe, I say 1 cup packed basil leaves. All right, so let's see here. Just so you guys know what that means. So if I take my basil leaves and I pack it like that, it's about a cup. So I have a little bit more than I need here. But I think it'll be all right. I have a 1/4 cup of these blanched almonds, so about 50, 60 grams. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm gonna put them in there, and I'm gonna put in the 1 clove of garlic. That's what we're gonna just start off with. So if you were using a mortar and pestle, this would be what you would do first, is you'd be putting the most coarse ingredients in there, then you'd be working your way up to the finest ingredients to the cheese. So we wanna make sure the garlic is mixed. We smell that. All right, that's good. So now we can add in everything else. Besides the pecorino, I'll save that to the end. A lot of times pesto, the cheese is mixed in at the end, so that's what I'll do here. This is a 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. I'm using Parton extra virgin olive oil. I'm just telling you the brand today because I'm using a Sicilian olive oil. I'm gonna do a 1/2 cup. And you know, start with a 1/2 cup. If you need more, you add more as you go. You're gonna need at least a 1/2 cup here though. You need a little bit of viscosity in there. Though you have the tomatoes. Cheese at the end, salt at the end. Pecorino is very salty, so don't do the salt yet. All right. Oh, that smells amazing. The cheese isn't in it yet, so that's what it needs. So this is 70 to 80 grams of Pecorino Romano cheese. So I'm just going gently.
If you wanted to keep it vegan, you could just add salt.
Yes, but you know, come on, it's not gonna be nearly as good. You can use one of the vegan cheeses. I don't really know what they are. So that's delicious. It does need salt, even with all that pecorino. I'm gonna put in about 3/4 teaspoon of salt. We just got the Costco pesto. We tried it the other day. It's actually excellent. It really is good. Tara was just saying they're using, you know, the basil from Italy. The amount of salt in that though, oh my God, even with all the cheese. Taste one more time. Guys, this is all you have to do with cooking. You keep adding stuff, seasoning, taste. If it's not right, do it again, taste it again. Now, it is delicious. This is best let sit for at least a 1/2 hour. If you put this in the fridge overnight, it's gonna taste even better the next day. It really will. The flavors will come together much more. So, you know, if you wanna just do it fast right now, now is the time that you're gonna bring up your water to boil. So the one complaint I always have whenever I've purchased the store-bought pesto, they do not give you enough. Now, the Costco one does give you enough. That's a 22-ounce container of it. Well, I'm talking to the camera, but thank you for saying yes in there too. I was like talking to you guys and she's like over there. She's like, yes. So what I'm gonna do is, I have all this here. We're gonna boil 1 pound of pasta, salted water, cook it exactly till al dente. We're not cooking this, we're not finishing anything in a pan. You don't do that with pesto, so we're gonna toss it right away. Just make sure you reserve at least a cup of pasta water. Just to be safe, reserve 2 cups. All right, so just follow it, taste it, get it al dente, that's it. I'm gonna take out 1/4 of this amount of pesto here, and I'm just gonna put it in this bowl that I had the cheese in. About that much, okay? We'll just take that, I'm gonna put it on the side. I like to just have extra. You're looking at this and you're like, Jim, you have too much pesto there? I don't have too much pesto. It's gonna be great like this. But that little bit can go on each bowl of pasta at the end. Let's boil that pasta and then let's toss this and get the taste tester down. Hey, buddy.
Hi.
So this is, well, what do you think it is?
Pesto.
He knows. It's his pesto Trapanese. So it has tomato in it. And not pine nuts, but almonds. You want a little oil on there too?
I'll
Or you think you're good?
have a bite without it. It's good like that. It's really good. I love pesto, so.
Does it stand up to the Costco pesto or not? Is the Costco pesto better?
I think it might be.
You know, I knew he was going to say that. I'll tell you, I mean, I spoke about it early in the episode. There's so much salt in that one. So you think this needs more salt, right?
I think it just might be that I like the kind of pesto more. Like that kind and this kind.
Which is just straight basil, the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. But, no, it's still really good.
You want to try the pesto straight?
Yeah.
All right.
Let him feed himself.
Whatever. I'm his dad. You don't feed your dad? I still feed my dad. Wow. This kid's getting tough. What's the problem with it? What does it need? Just be honest.
Yeah, a little bit more salt. Like, more of a balance. I feel like I can taste the almonds way more than, like, tomatoes and, like...
What did you taste the most?
Almonds. And, like,
Almonds, huh?
And on basil. I barely even tasted tomato.
My biggest complaint was those tomatoes. We had 1 1/4 pound. They weren't so good. If you use your own fresh ones, better. Honestly, I would probably just use tomatoes from a can, unless you have your really ripened tomatoes from your own garden.
Yeah, that's one of the main things I was thinking, like, because I was expecting this to have a more tomato taste.
Yeah.
I give it an 8.5.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. I thought you were going to give it like a 5.
No, never.
Oh, well, no, you can give me a 5.
Your food is too good for that.
My food's too good for that? James, you can definitely give it a 5. I agree with you about the tomatoes, 100%.
The problem with them is that they looked good. They were bright red when they were in the store. But yeah, once you peeled back that layer of skin, they weren't the color that they should be.
I recommend using cherry tomatoes. They're normally, or grape tomatoes. They're normally good.
Would you peel the skins off?
You don't even. They don't even need to. You don't even need to waste your time with that.
Like, it's good. It's just that, like, doesn't have the tomato.
Yeah.